Okay, so I'm just going to make a video on how to fix some of these images, or how to do the best that we can fixing these images. And the reason I make these videos is hopefully to spread knowledge, and maybe it's something that you could do in the future for yourself. Don't ever worry about it. You can actually just submit your artwork and I'll fix it every single time, but it would help it go through faster if it was all, right from the get-go, and make my life easier. So I always say that. But what I'm going to do is try to fix up the hardest one first. And the other purpose of making this video is that you'll understand, why it's not going to be 100% perfect. It would be 100% perfect if I had this artwork at the size that I needed it at, in full quality from the original. But when you're working with something like this and you're just kind of faced with these challenges, you don't have much of a choice. I don't have much of a choice is what I'm trying to say. So, the goal is to get this as clean as possible. And every single image, presents different challenges. So for instance, with this one, the outer parts here, and I'm just zooming into 200%, what makes it look fuzzy, but it's okay. The outer parts here are just shapes. And we can probably get those shapes going pretty easily, and just recreate those. These inner lines, that would take a lot more time to redraw. And then the text is obvious, it's usually the biggest problem. I mean, you've got text here that you've got to, try to keep clean. And so, there's different approaches to different things. I'm going to think about how I'm going to do this and not waste your time. So I've decided to try to take the outside of this and just make a selection like that. And, I'm just going to copy that and paste that on a new layer. So I've just got that red isolated. And then I'm going to, so what I'm essentially going to do is take this and make three, I don't know what those are. They're not pentagons. Are they sexagons? Sextagon, whatever it is. Septagon, I think, is 7. Anyway, I'm going to make 3 of these. One white, one red. Or we might just do a black one and put a stroke on it. But we need 3 of these. And I'm just going to take this to make that. So we'll just do a color overlay to make it black. And that makes it easier for Inkscape to trace. And we'll just export that as a PNG. So I'm going to say black. Is it a sexagon? Sextagon? I don't know. All right. And then we're going to take that and we'll open up Inkscape. So we'll just do a new one. I'll close this other one that I had open. And we'll bring that in. And you don't want to expand things when you're bringing it into Inkscape. Like, it's sharp at this level that it's at, which is one of the nice things about this image, is at least it's sharp. And, you just want to trace it at that sharpness. You don't want to feed in fuzzy pieces. So, you can see Inkscape's done a really good job of tracing that. So we've got this shape. And we're gonna select one of these inner nodes, and then hit Control A to select all of them, and then just delete. And so that's our shape. And then I'm just gonna do File, Document Properties, and resize to the content, so that I don't have any white space around. And I call it white space. That's what you call wasted space on a document. All right, so we'll just bring that in. And now we can just keep working at this size. We don't have to expand our document, as long as we make things smart objects. So when I drug that in and made it a smart object, that's what it just did it automatically. Dragging it in and then hitting enter makes it a smart object. And so that is what we've got here. And that's an SVG, so it's infinitely scalable. So the SVG is behind the scenes, hidden, behind the smart object. So I don't have to worry about the scale of that, which is really nice. So I'm just going to take this layer and make it, 50% opacity. And then I'm going to duplicate and we'll just turn this one off. And then I'm going to scale. I'm holding Shift and Alt and just scale right in to be where that black layer is. And it's not going to be identical. You're just never going to get extreme perfection. And then we'll make we'll make that one's already black. So we'll change this one. I'm actually going to duplicate this layer again and put it to full opacity so that I can turn it on and off to get colors. So we'll just grab this red and then we'll put that on this. So we'll do blending options and we'll do color overlay and we'll pick that red color. Okay, this one's black. And then we will duplicate this layer and I'll just make this one white. So we'll do blending options again and we'll do color overlay and then we'll do white and we'll just scale that out to match that white. All right. And then, and you can't see how pretty it is yet because we haven't, we don't actually have the, what am I trying to say? We haven't expanded it, but all those are smart objects. They're all an SVG just with a color overlay that's being provided by Photoshop. So they'll be full quality when we zoom out or when we enlarge the image. You'll see it as super sharp. So all of this interior, I'm really just going, I think that, my best bet is to do this in gigapixel. I'm really concerned though about the letters. So let's just look at this. This is the most important part of this graphic. Because it's white and it's the focal point. Oops. So we could try just tracing it. So I'm selecting that with the magic wand tool with a tolerance of 50. And I'm going to paste it on a new layer. So I turn everything else off. And I do a color overlay on this. Make that black. I think we've got it pretty clean. We'll just do that same technique, so I won't bore you with that. Okay, so I'm going to show you this part because it's been difficult. So I've traced it, but as you can see, there's a problem with the top of this H and a problem with the top of this C. The bottom of the C is not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a guideline. So we'll just zoom in here and we'll draw a guideline right to the top of that and we'll draw a guideline right to the bottom. I wish it would snap. It snapped on the other part. Snap. It's not doing it. And then we'll just edit these nodes and we'll just make sure that all of these nodes are snapped to the guide. And I'm holding Control, which is going to force it to stay locked on an axis. These look pretty good already. I'm just being particular because it can be now. And this one, it's like it drew 2 when it should have just drawn 1. This is where it's decided to mess up on me. And I'm just trying to complete that X. And then I'm just going to make this node corner so it doesn't have any Bezier problems there. I'll snap those to the guide. I'll snap those to the guide. And then this C, let's try to insert a node. And then we're going to make that node corner. And make it hard. Just kind of fix this C to look normal. So we'll make that corner. I'm bringing these handles in, and then just making it, have that hard corner like it did in the original. And this needs a little more help. So we'll just tell that node to corner. Bring those handles in. We'll add another node up here. Corner. Bring the handles to nothing. And just pull it back out. Try to follow the original as best we can. And then this guide, I don't think I've placed it very well. I'm going to make it right to the top. And then this needs to snap to the guide. And this needs to snap to the guide. And all these other ones look pretty good except this one. Let's make that corner. We just want to find the parts that somebody's going to notice. We want the customer to be happy. I said that like I was so sad about it. No, I mean, I'm happy to make the customer happy. That's the point. All right, and we'll just bring this right up and snap it to the guide and then follow the original design. And I see that C being a little out of line, but it's not terrible. It passes. So, all right, I think we've got this. So we just want to delete that, and then we'll pull this in just like we did before. Okay, so we've just got it. We're just going to scoot it over. It came in at exactly the right size, which is really nice. All right. So let's see. I'm going to remove that layer. I'll just pull this down. So this is starting to be replaced a piece at a time. So this is our original layer at full opacity, and I'm just going to go around this white area and hit delete. I'm just going to make sure I have a copy of it. We'll duplicate it. We'll make this one a smart object, and then we'll just pull it down out of the way. We're not using that one, but now we can always go back. And then I'll just delete this. All right. And then we'll turn on one of these, our black layer. Kind of lost the train there. What's this one? That's the red. That's the white, and that's the black. And then we'll put a color overlay on this in white. And now we've got our logo back, and we need our little star. So we'll just make a star. So I'm sure we got a star and an object here. Yeah. I'm trying to get it to be straight up and down, and it's not being really polite. But that should work for us. We could just go ahead and get the color. So let's just make this full opacity again. And I think it's the same as that 23. I'm just being particular. That's CAA 86A. And so is that. So that's our color. Okay. So we don't need that. You know, I can just do the color overlay in the other. Doesn't matter where you do it. So we'll just do the fill and stroke here. All right. And I'll save this as after I size it. So we'll do document properties, resize, and we'll do file, save as, star. All right, we'll pull that in. All right, we got that placed. Probably going to do the same thing for the 23. Let's see what we can do with that. All right, well, I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to use the same techniques to do the 23. So the 23 came out really fuzzy, and it may make sense to just find a font for this, but I'm going to try to save it still because, you know, matching fonts is really difficult. So I'm actually downscaling it slightly, and then, you know, to maybe get rid of some of the fuzziness. You know what? Let me look at that again. It's not bad. Let's just export it like that. It doesn't look bad. So we'll call that hex 23, and then we'll pop it open in Gigapixel and see if it can redraw it for us. And that looks okay. Let's just try 4x. I mean, it's making some, I see some problems with it. We'll save that. And then we'll let Inkscape try tracing that. So instead of this one, let's bring this in. Yeah, see, it's so messy. Well, we'll give it a try. Can we fix it? Sometimes it likes to put 2 nodes there. Let's make that corner. You're going to corner 2. And you as well. Sometimes you just need to remove nodes and tell them to auto smooth. You know, I see all sorts of problems, but it's such a small part of the design that I'm hoping this is going to pass. And I think we're just going to let that go. Let it go. So I'll pull this in. Okay, so we've got it to where here's our original, and there's the redrawn. So we've got everything redrawn except those lines. So I've just decided to bite the bullet and redraw these lines. So here's how we're going to do that. I've got this pulled in the image. I've resized it to the content. We're going to look at our layers, and we'll call this reference. Let's see, it's reference. And then we'll just add another layer, and we'll call it artwork. And then this reference layer, I'm going to lower the opacity so we can see on top of it real easy, and lock it. And then I'll select the artwork layer. And we'll zoom in here, and we're just going to get our pen tool and go to town. So our mode is normal, and I'm going to go outside just slightly, just to make sure that it, that we actually have and whenever we go straight, we'll hold control. And we won't obsess about it. We're just trying to get something done here. I'm saying that for my sake. I have a little tendency to nitpick. Just slightly. And then we'll just keep going. Not real happy with that. Getting picky here. And we'll just draw. I'm holding control whenever I go, horizontal. And the diagonals we're just eyeballing. We're going outside the drawing. Oh. I really want that angle to be nice and consistent, because I think your eye will be drawn to that if it's off. Outside, hold control. All right. Straight down, stop right at the edge. Actually, all these are going to die at this same edge. Let's put a guide there. And that way they'll snap. And let's put a guide right here. And we'll put this here. All right, so that's got it. And then we'll look at our stroke. So we have no fill. But I think we do want fill. Let's get our color. Pretty confident this is the red. Yeah. And we'll just put a fill on this. No, we don't want fill. Sorry. We just want stroke. And here's our stroke paint. Yeah, we just got lines here. What am I thinking? And we'll paste that color on it. Okay. Let's actually just put all these as one path combine. Okay, so everything's red, and then our style, we'll just bump that up until it looks consistent. Well, that looks good. All right, and then we'll just copy that, and we'll do object. We'll paste in place, so that's Control Alt V, I think. Nope. Control Shift V. Nope. Copy. Control Shift V. It's not working for me. Copy, Control Alt V. There we go. All right, and then we'll just do Object, Flip Horizontal. We'll just line it up on this side. See, things never work out perfectly, so you just have to let it go. All right, and I'm just going to do the rest of the lines and get that done. And as I was working, I thought to tell you one more thing. It's like whenever you're doing work like this, you know, just zoom in. That's why I'm so zoomed in. Is like you're just zoomed in past the point that any other person is going to be able to see with their naked eye. And then you can be confident that you're going to do a better job than they can see, you know, so they won't be able to see your imperfections because, you know, obviously it's not going to be perfect. You just want to make it look like, you know, trick their eye into it being perfect. Okay, so if I take these and then, you know, I'll combine those. I don't know, I showed you this one more time. So Control C, Control Alt V, and then I'm trying to hold Shift or Control while I drag it, Control while I drag it. And then we'll flip it, and then Control, and that keeps it dragging on that same. And then you want to make sure this is on the top, so you raise it to the top, and then combine it with these others. And I think that is what controls if they get the same style. That way you don't have to restyle those. Okay, so now there's the lines. And so we'll go back to our layers and we'll just turn off the reference. And we will export, we will save this as, we'll call it hex lines. We're in the home stretch. You can hear me getting excited here. We get to see our results. And then we'll find that and drag it in. And I made it exactly the same size. I sized it to the original, but it's not placed right. Let's just get it right where it needs to be. And that looks perfect. And then we're going to turn off. We'll put that in our redrawing. Turn that on. And then we'll bring our lines down below our 23. And actually we want to just put them, I'll put it in this shapes layer. And I'm looking for the black. There's the black. And we'll just clip it to the black. So we'll just create clipping mask. And now it's clipped to the black. And I think we've got our artwork. So now we get to see the results. Hang on. So I'm going to save the Photoshop document in this format. And then we're just going to expand it. So we're just literally going to go image. We'll zoom out to 100%. We'll do image size. Oops. Image size. And we want to go big, you know, we want to go big, but we don't want to just go too big. You don't want to go, 3600 because there's no reason to do that. So, and I'm seeing little errors. I don't know if that's just the preview because I think everything is a smart object. Yeah, it's not going to do that. It's going to be perfect. Ta-da! Oh, that feels so good when you get something looking really nice. Yep. All right, and this is already 30 minutes long. I'm probably gonna really struggle with the other one. I might found a quicker way to do it. It may be too complicated. This one was pretty complicated, but I'm gonna make sure that it looks as decent as I can. I've already spent a lot of time on this project, probably too much. So thanks again for your order, and if you watched all this, I hope you learned something from it. Have a great day.